I crave freedom and liberation so much that my belief was that if I had too much rigidity, if I had too much structure in place, then it would stop my creativity. Hello, welcome back to the Active Ingredient Podcast. We have a solo this week, and I am centering this theme on something that, like with all solos that I do, is something that I keep seeing bubble up in my life in so many different ways. And even the title of this episode, Freedom Within a Framework, is something that I had written down. I have a notes app in my phone, and I have just like a running list of show themes and ideas and solos and conversations and people that I want to have on, and just like this running list for Active Ingredient. And Freedom Within a Framework has been one that has been circulating in my system for a while, but in the last like week and a half I have been hearing it and seeing it in everything. And that's when I know I'm like, okay, this is the time to do that episode. I heard it in my dance class. I heard it on the podcast that I listen to all the time. And I keep having sessions with my business coach, Barbara, on this exact same theme. We've been having multiple sessions about it, getting more and more refined and clear as time goes on. And the past like 2 weeks, really, it's been front and center, and I was hesitant a little bit about doing this episode now because I don't feel like I have my framework that locked in. If I'm being completely honest, like I feel like I am a very fluid person. I like a lot of freedom, and I have struggled with finding frameworks that work for me. I'm constantly in the pursuit of refining and tweaking and playing around with and moving my framework. And I have had a hard time with it, I think, because I crave freedom and liberation so much that my belief was that if I had too much rigidity, if I had too much structure in place, then it would stop my creativity, or it would not allow me to just let my flow take me where it needed to take me. And I do think that it did serve a purpose for a long time for me. And I think that in seasons in life and different phases, you do need more of certain things, and there's a time and a place for everything. But I think that at this phase that I'm in right now, and with all the multiple things that I have going on, it's become abundantly clear to me that I not only need it, but I want it. Like I'm finally at a place where I think that I swung the pendulum so much on the freedom side of things for so long that I'm like, okay, I know how to live here and I know how to operate here, and I want to take it to another level because I want to. And that's going to require me to have systems that ensure certain things get done. And like this whole time, even while I was operating way more on the freedom side of the scale, there's always been certain things that have been somewhat of a framework. Like, of course, I'm not just throwing paint against the wall and seeing what happens. There is some, and always has been, some sort of structure. Even how I work with clients, there is a structure that they know how I work and what I work within. But taking it a step beyond that and actually reframing it in my mind and in my system, that the framework, the structure, the container actually allows for liberation. It actually allows for you to be more expansive and more free if you give yourself the actual allotment for it. And I do not have this on lock at all. That's why, again, I was like, do I even do this episode right now? Because I do have frameworks and I've had them, and I've, as of late, had even more of a structure than I've had previously. Am I hitting it perfectly within the framework that I made for myself? 0%, or not 0%, just like, no, like, is it like exactly what I've been working towards and doing that consistently? Not yet, but working towards that and feeling what it feels like at the end of the day when I have worked in that. And I think with most things in life, when we're playing around with things and checking in with what we need at that moment, I think it's just like playing around with it, seeing and giving yourself the space and the time to see if it does work for you. But I think that as a person who, and I think some people probably can relate to this, that we crave having the freedom to operate and move how we want to. I think has been such a gift that I've been able to go so free for the last however many years, 6, 7 years. I've been able to really, really operate like that. And I have been craving more and more and more of the structure naturally, which I also think that the only reason I'm actually probably going to be able to continue on this path of structure and finding that framework that works for me, or continuing to tweak and pivot to get to the ones that feel right for me. Um, I'm only here because I gave myself, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to give myself that gift of being able to operate so much on that side of the pendulum that was just like, basically do what you want, And it's not that being in a framework is not that, this is like, you see, like that's even that old belief system that like being in a framework isn't what you want. It's actually, it is what you want, even more so now. And I believe that like 70% right now, like I do understand that what I am looking to do will require that of me. And I'm in the midst of playing with that and seeing how that actually feels, and if that works for my way of doing and being. And I do think that I'm ready for it. I don't think that that's, yeah, I feel like it's just something that I've been really resistant towards, if I'm being completely honest. Like I've been extremely, extremely resistant towards it. And I've tried different things. I've had different business coaches and different people like to try to like figure out how is it that I'm supposed to be operating in this planet. And I don't think that someone outside of you can tell you that. I think that maybe someone outside of you can mirror that. And my coach Barbara, she's been on the show. You've maybe listened to that episode. If not, I will link it in the show notes. She is someone who mirrors and kind of just like plays back to me what I have said, and she can create a template or build something for me to see, for me to be able to be like, that resonates and that doesn't resonate, or like we need to shift that Tuesday to a Monday, and we need to change Friday to be this because I'm not doing any of those things on that day, and my creativity window is from this time to this time. I can't have absolutely anything within like my schedule for that time. I want to be doing this in the mornings, and I want to be doing this in the evenings, and I need to be off at this time. Like when you are building your own schedule and you're building your own life, and I know that I'm not the, like, I also know that this comes with great privilege because I work for myself, and I know that not everyone does. So I know that everyone that's listening to this doesn't work for themselves, but I am speaking from my experience and where I'm at right now, creating the frameworks for myself. But I do think that a lot of us are working from home or working from co-working places. And it does require a lot of self-discipline or devotion towards building the life that you actually want. And so that you could apply those principles to a certain degree while working for someone else. I think so. In most places, I think that like, yes, there'll probably be a meeting put on your calendar or multiple meetings put on your calendar that are not necessarily in the window that you want. But I do think that if you find even one or two things in your day that you can say, okay, within this time, this is where I am ensuring that X, Y, and Z, that is starting to build that framework. And actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, that is one of the things that I talked about with Barbara on that episode, was how when she was going from working for a company to working for herself, she started to schedule calls within the company that she was working in. She was like, okay, in my dream life, I'm going to be having meetings at 11 a.m. and this time and this time. And so she started scheduling her meetings at the company that she was working for. She started scheduling meetings at those times so that she can start getting into the rhythm of what that would look like when she is eventually doing it for herself. And I thought that was really cool for the people that are currently working somewhere that know that they want to shift or maybe work for themselves or go freelance or try something in a different way or whatever. I thought that was a really cool framework. It's not the approach that I did at all, because like I said, my approach was like, I'm working for myself. F everyone. I am going all the way on freedom and seeing where that takes me. It took me to a really cool place. And now at the place that I'm at, I'm like, I crave the framework. I crave the structure, the roots, the space that I get to show up at and then be expansive. It's like your literal home. You know what I mean? Like to be as free to be without home is like, none of us want that. That's most of our greatest fears. To not have a container to come home to is something that we don't want. We crave to have the walls, the different rooms that separate the kitchen and that separate these different things. They're informing you what you are to do in those places. They're informing you and all of your senses on how you will show up there. Like when I arrive in my home, I'm arriving into a container that allows me to exhale deeply. That I love the smell and the ambiance and the vibes of, and I know how to operate in here because I have set the tone for this space to be like that. And so as I've been building my week out in a more structured way and in a way that there's still a lot of freedom, but there are certain things that I'm like, okay, this is a non-negotiable moving forward. And again, I have been playing around with this. Like there was like certain meetings that I was like, okay, it's going to be this day, this time. And I'm like, actually, it doesn't work for me. We have to shift it to this day. And then this day, this time, this, like just moving it around so that for all the things that I have going on, that I ensure that the things that are the ones that require a certain type of energy from me get met. Because at this point in my journey, and I think that depending on where you are at, you will know the answer better or not. At this point, I have a pretty strong understanding of on most days, I am most creative during a certain period of time. I know this. I also know at what point in the day I can't be doing some deep execution or deep creative work. It's just not worth it. It's not, I'm not gonna create what I actually want to create at the level that I want to create it. And there are exceptions to the rule. If I'm meeting with a client that's in a different time zone, or like, of course, there are exceptions, but for the majority of the time, what I am aiming towards is creating a framework that works in order for me to actually do the things that I want to do. And I am no expert at this at all. All I wanted to say on the solo was that I am unlearning my fear of frameworks and my fear of structure and my tie to it being like rigidity, and that it would actually mean that it's losing a part of my creativity. And I think because honestly, the rigidity and the structure of growing up in a school system and then going into work at different companies that had a pretty corporate type structure that were like, you're going to work from this time to this time, period. And I don't care if you're just staring at the ceiling, like you're sitting here and doing this for this amount of time. That I've had such a allergy to that I was like, F this all the way to the other side, you know? And so I've operated on that other side for a while. And again, I sound like a little bit of a broken record, but it has served me. So like, I think that I needed to be on that extreme for some time to be like, okay, cool. I know what this is like. I know what it's like to be able to do whatever the hell I want at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And that's amazing. And I'm so grateful that I know what life is like out on the streets at that time. And I know what moving around and doing things however the hell I want to every day of the week, not just on weekends, is. And I think that all I needed was just to like know what that was so that then I could choose, okay, knowing what life is like and knowing how I operate and my natural rhythms and my way of working and my way of connecting and my way of getting my needs met for how I want to be. How can I create a home for each one of those things? How can I create a home for when I'm doing client work for Nude Nation, for when I am ideating for Active Ingredient, recording, editing, creating things for Piano Piano, for making content for Piano Piano, for doing any of the things that I'm doing, for creating an event, for doing new business meetings? How can I do it in a way that serves me? It really is, because I don't want to have this feeling of like this never ending to do and like, when will I get to it? And I have always got into things, but I don't want to live with the question mark of like, when is this going to get done? I want to have clear dates, times, deadlines. I need to know when I need to send certain things, because otherwise I'll procrastinate it to the last second and it will always get done. But like, I don't want to operate like that. Like, I just don't want to anymore. And the last few events that I've done, honestly, has been an interesting exercise in like having given myself more of a framework for those, that then I arrive at the event date and I feel a very strange sensation, which is peace. I'm like, is this normal? I'm like, I feel like everything is taken care of. I feel like everything is running smoothly. We've got it all under control, question mark. You know what I mean? It makes me feel weird still because I've operated in this kind of like very free, ethereal, like, yeah, I'll get to that. Yeah, I'll answer that when I answer it. Like I have. And that has given me like stress and anxiety and procrastination vibes, which is why I crave this. But now that I've been doing more framework style work, it's removed a lot of that big fat question mark that gives you the anxiety. And I'm like, well, now I have a different kind of stress, which is this feels like too good to be true vibes. And I'm just trying to learn how to sit with that just because it's new. Because I'm trying to regulate myself at a place where, like, yeah, no, things actually can run really smoothly and you can be totally fine and things can be executed beautifully without you having to have a panic beforehand, you know? And so that is the hope of the framework. And also, like, so many of my favorite things in life really are that. Like, the things that I keep going back to over and over again have that framework. Like, my favorite podcasts have a framework. My favorite classes have a framework. My favorite, everything has a framework. I mean, every single thing that we do that's executed to a level that is enjoyable is freedom within a framework. It is what it is. Everything is freedom within a framework. It's also the feminine and masculine energy in balance. And I've been going hard at the freedom for some time. So we shall see how this all ends up. In the beginning phases of this, I will say it's that feeling of like, this feels okay. Like, this feels like different. And I know it's in a good way, but it's in a way that I'm still, even though it's better and it's like everything is kind of like feeling good right now. It's still learning how to regulate within that, within when you're balanced in that freedom and framework. It's like, huh, huh, okay, I'm gonna have to get used to this feeling. All this to say is that freedom within a framework, that concept has been floating around in my system for some time. And in the past, like, week and a half, 2 weeks, it has been like bam, 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 reminder, reminder, reminder. Do the episode on freedom within a framework, even if you're not a framework expert. And I am in no way a framework expert, which is why I hire people and I work with people that help me figure that out. I surround myself with people that can help me figure that out because it does not come naturally to me. I naturally tend to be more in the freedom zone. And so I got to get like a little bit pulled in. So I don't got to get, I want to get a little tweak there. So yeah, I am curious for you guys, especially for those of you who are fully building out your own schedules. I've had many conversations with friends who work for themselves, who are founders or freelancers, strategists. And I'm just really curious about how people create frameworks for themselves to ensure that, like, all the things that they want to create and build and plan for are done in a way that feels good for them. And I do still think that this is such a new place in terms of evolution and how we're all working post pandemic. And I think that there's so much to learn and explore and play with and see where we land. And yeah, that is all I have for you today. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, your week, and I will see you next week. Bye.